Good morning at 6:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Erin down yonder, other end of the gopher-shaped broadcast table, getting local news ready right now.
Our town remembers a Barksdale airman. We'll talk more about that. The mayor will have to give testimony in the water and sewer billing case, and a woman gets shot in the derriere.
You know, when a guy got shot back there, we just came out and used the word, but let us move on.
Yeah, okay.
I have a story that is so outrageous and so preposterous, and I'm going to start with that, and you will be amazed.
Okay.
And you have a letter via email from...
Well, it got sent to me by the governor's office, but it's from Greg Tarver to Jeff Landry.
About the Red River Waterway Commission appointment and his legal opinion.
Yeah.
Talk about that, too. Plus,
and I just love this morning.
Why is that?
Because this is the morning of the year that my spatula just gets tingly because it's cool.
Fletcher and sports, traffic, and weather, it's all coming up this hour right here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
The mayor must answer questions in the city's water billing scandal. Matt Parker with that.
A Caddo District judge has ordered Shreveport Mayor Ollie Tyler to answer questions in a lawsuit accusing the city of improperly collecting funds from commercial water and sewer customers. However, the judge did limit the scope of what questions can be asked of Tyler. Once questions are submitted and approved, Tyler has 15 days to answer. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of the Haven Property Owners Association and Briarwood Apartments. The group claims that the city improperly collected up to $3.5 million in fees and taxes. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Barksdale airman slain in a shooting and is being remembered across our community. Joshua Kidd is the man killed in a Tuesday shooting in Green Acres Place. He was an airman at Barksdale. According to family and neighbors, the 30-year-old airman was shot and killed while chasing after suspected burglars. A prayer vigil in honor of Kidd will be held tonight at 6:30 at Airline Baptist Church. A cash reward being offered by Crime Stoppers for information leading to an arrest in the shooting. A federal judge has ruled that Louisiana charter schools have to recognize and bargain with local teacher unions. President of the Louisiana Federation of Teachers is praising the ruling, saying the decision gives teachers, employees, and experts a voice in what takes place inside a charter school classroom. A woman gets shot in the butt in Shreveport. According to police, the woman was shot in the rear end at Tiffany Square Apartments. According to officers, the victim was sitting on her sofa when her neighbor's gun went off and struck her on her hindquarters. No arrests have been made in the case. Authorities say her wounds are not life-threatening. A new poll for the Secretary of State's special election in November is out, with Democrat Renee Free in the lead, followed by Republicans Julie Stokes and Rick Edmonds. The poll by JMC Analytics was commissioned by Edmonds. Pollster John Couvillon says the early lead for a Democrat in a red state is not surprising, considering how many Republicans are running.
The Democratic vote is going to be at a minimum between 35 and 40%. That vote is only being divided two ways, whereas the Republican vote is being divided 6 ways.
The poll also included results that show a 43 to 37 split on the question of whether or not Governor Edwards deserves to be reelected. The Senate Judiciary Committee will hear today from Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and a woman who accuses him of trying to rape her when they were teenagers. The attention is focused on the Judiciary Committee. Political analyst Bernie Pensionnat says what we can expect from Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, who serves on that panel.
Things as they stand based on her recollection, probably is pretty easy for John Kennedy. He will probably vote as a committee member to send the nomination to the full Senate.
Pincinat says it's a smart move on behalf of the all-male Republicans on the committee to have a female come in to ask the tricky questions. Fish fry tonight, the Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association. It's happening at Hayes Avenue Baptist Church beginning at 6 o'clock. The public is invited. A guy in Pennsylvania has been having yard sales to pay for his own funeral. The Navy veteran has stage 4 cancer but has no money to pay for his funeral. Residents have stepped up to help pay those costs. I'm Erin McCarty from 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Costs.
Ten past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Ruben's here, traffic time.
Still keeping a close eye on that major accident on East Burt-Coons Industrial Loop near Wallace Lake Road. And you need to look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Greenwood Road near Hearn Avenue. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast will have a stray shower this morning. Not as warm otherwise today. Plenty of clouds and a high of 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Twelve past 6 o'clock. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. It's 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. That KEEL app, a free download from Office Furniture Source. Are you ready?
Of course.
A story that is so amazing that I read it and I was just dumbfounded. I literally was. If you could meet one celebrity, Parky, you too, buddy. If there were one celebrity that you could meet or text or Facebook message or Instagram, who would it be? You, Bob Dylan, there's no doubt.
Oh, actually, I would go with Bill Burr. If we're going living, I would love to just sit and talk with Bill Burr.
If he's going with living and he skips over Bob Dylan.
You know mine.
No, who?
know.
For you.
It'd be Oprah.
Really?
Yeah.
Investigators say fans are scammed out of millions of dollars by fake celebrity accounts.
Oh, boy.
I read this morning early, like about 4:30, and I was just stunned. Imagine Your favorite celebrity reaching out to you on social media.
Oh, my.
At first, you're thrilled, but the brush with greatness can soon take a sinister turn. One that is costing diehard fans millions of dollars. Perhaps no singer epitomizes the glory days of 1980s rock and roll like Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
I have been loving Bruce since the 1980s, ever since I heard him and thought, oh, this guy is so handsome and has a good voice, says Mary, in air quotes, whose identity is concealed. Mary said she commented on a Bruce Springsteen Facebook page and within days got a Facebook message back from Bruce. I'm like, whoa, Bruce Springsteen. I'm good. How are you? Said Mary. Well, the reporter then asks the question, did you think you were dealing with the real Bruce Springsteen?
Oh, my goodness.
And Mary responds, well, I was hoping I was. A search of Bruce Springsteen on Facebook shows there are dozens of pages, all purporting to be the boss. Well, Mary and Bruce, okay, fake Bruce,
Fake Bruce, yeah.
over the course of a few days exchanged photos
Oh, my.
and text messages. This kept up for almost a year.
Whoa.
Then Bruce's tone turned flirtatious.
Uh-oh.
Bruce told Mary he was what? I'm sorry. What did I hear? A sigh?
Some
Who
people
falls-
just shouldn't be allowed on the internet.
Who falls for this stuff? Even I wouldn't.
Bruce told Mary that he was on the verge of getting a divorce, but his wife had tied up all his bank accounts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
And he needed money.
Oh,
Bruce
tell me.
Bruce then suggested Mary should send him whatever she could using iTunes gift cards.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Bruce Springsteen needs iTunes gift cards, of all things.
Yeah.
Dear Lord.
So Mary says, well, it was Bruce, so I sent him iTunes gift cards.
Oh, my.
$400, $500, $600 every week. Then fake Bruce. Oh, you ain't heard nothing yet. And wait till we get to fake Kenny Chesney.
Oh, God.
But then Bruce texted a photo of his stash of gold bullion, saying he needed money to ship it home from Dubai.
Oh, boy.
He said it was a huge amount of gold worth tens of millions. Mary recalls, my mind was so, well, like brainwashed or something. And I said, okay, how much money? Mary ended up sending Bruce $11,500 through MoneyGram, Western Union, and a cashier's check to somewhere in Dubai.
Oh, God.
I was so vulnerable at the time. And it hurt and it hurts and you feel so stupid. The reporter in this story points out that for the record, Bruce is still married and worth about $460 million.
Yeah.
So, now we move on to a woman named, let's just say Peggy. 76-year-old Peggy
She sent him a gift card for cowboy hats or something?
has been in contact with a different celebrity. He said he was Kenny Chesney,
Oh, my.
Peggy says. Reporter, how much did you send? Peggy, a little over $10,000 altogether. Wow. Kenny Chesney also reached out to her after she liked his page on Facebook. I realize now that the real Kenny Chesney never needed any of my money, Peggy says. Investigators say Peggy's money ended up in China. And then the article goes on to let readers of this article and the general public know how you can tell a fake. Did you Google Bruce Springsteen? Did you put in Bruce Springsteen on Facebook?
No, I did not.
Oh, give it a shot. Erin's got a little cash lying around. What the hell?
If she wants to give away cash, I'm right here.
The Federal Trade Commission says these kinds of imposters on the internet cost consumers approximately $328 million in 2017. And they received more than okay. How many people do you think were fooled by fake Bruce, fake Kenny, fake Brad Pitt, and other celebrities in 2017? Give me a number.
40.
Give me a number.
400.
Parky?
I want to have
FTC
Oh God.
received in excess of 350,000 fake celebrity complaints in 2017.
Wow.
Dear Lord.
There are not that many idiots in
Hold
the
on.
world, are there?
When they say fake celebrity, do they mean like fake Bruce Springsteen, or like some guy that's like, hey, I'm a celebrity on YouTube, send me money so I can make a movie?
I have absolutely no idea. It doesn't clarify. It in this article points out about fake Bruce and fake Kenny, both scamming unsuspecting women of tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, money going to Dubai to bring Bruce's gold doubloons back. And Kenny Chesney, well, fake Kenny.
I just want to have more faith in humanity than believing that there's this many people that can be fleeced by someone posing as Bruce Springsteen.
Speaking of Google, I got 2 words for you, buddy, and you can look it up and we can review later if we are so inclined. You ready?
No.
Anne Hathaway. 19.
man.
That's a true story.
Oh, my
It's
goodness.
a true story. 19 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Maybe we'll do Greg Tarver next. Maybe we'll save Greg Tarver till the 40 segment. The other end of the gopher-shaped broadcast table will decide. Fletcher Sports is on the way. Meanwhile, here's Ruben.
Still keeping a close eye on that major accident on East Coons Industrial Loop near Wallace Lake Road. And you need to look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Greenwood Road near Hearn Avenue. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast, a spotty shower this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and not as warm today. High 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Twenty-one past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Sports time. Here's the real Tim Fletcher.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. 2 huge games kick off the high school football week starting tonight. The annual grudge match between Bird and Captain Shreve at Lee Hedges features teams with a combined record of 7-1. But usually the records don't even matter when these 2 rivals square off. Unbeaten Northwood entertains Benton tonight. The Falcons dispatched North DeSoto last week and try to keep the hot side hot tonight at home. Chasen Hines, the LSU freshman offensive lineman and former Marshall Maverick, will get his first start for the Tigers Saturday night against Ole Miss. Hines will fill the role normally occupied by Garrett Brumfield, who suffered a knee injury in the win over Louisiana Tech and will miss a couple of weeks, according to Coach Ed Orgeron. There was some good news on the injury front for the Tigers. Adrian McGee practiced in full pads and worked with the first-team offense at left tackle during individual drills, according to the Advocate. He's been on the shelf since suffering an injury in the season-opening win over Miami. Saints quarterback Drew Brees was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week after his 5 total touchdown performance in Sunday's win over Atlanta. Brees also broke the record for career completions in the game. New Orleans travels to Jersey to face the Giants this weekend. In practice Wednesday, Alvin Kamara, Cam Jordan joined Andrus Peat, Tyler Davison, Ted Ginn Jr., and Cameron Meredith as limited participants due to injury. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 624. Here's how that story wraps up. If somebody asks you to send money through a money transfer or through iTunes gift cards, and they say they're a celebrity, don't do it.
Don't do it. Thank you.
Do it.
Please. It's not really them.
You know, I knew you would be somewhat head in your hands, but I knew this is going to bother him all day. This is the kind of thing. This is the kind of thing that makes you crazy.
Look, I've purchased alcoholic beverages for Bill Burr, Brian Knobs, all sorts of different celebrities, but I could see them physically, and they didn't ask me for it. I just did it, as an appreciation of their work. And
but if you got a text from Bill Burr asking you to send him scotch, you'd probably do it.
Well, if I knew it was Bill Burr, like if I got his phone number from him personally, not
what celebrity do you think could, or what fake celebrity, if it were so and so, if you got a phone call today, who would you? I mean, who could be on the other end of the phone, or a person on the other end of the phone representing a celebrity that you so wanted it to be true?
It would be Oprah for me. If I could have a convo with Oprah.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to send Oprah money because I got an inkling she's okay.
You think she's all right?
I think she's okay. Yeah, I would never send her money. Somebody could fool me. An Oprah sound-alike could fool me. We could have a convo and talk about Stedman
what's interesting,
and all
of
that.
all the people that are ever that performers do impressions of, you never hear anybody do one of Oprah.
You don't.
No. Probably because she'll sue.
She probably would sue.
And they're on the phone asking for iTunes cards. Tell me more about the lawsuit. The judge ruled yesterday. Okay, so who exactly?
It's not yesterday. It's been a few days, but.
Well, when did the judge says Ollie's got to testify?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not essentially testify. She's got to answer written questions. The questions will be in writing. So, like
deposition, like under oath?
Well, I'm not sure officially under oath. She's got to answer questions in a lawsuit. The questions are going to be submitted to her, and then she's going to write.
To William Bradford or another city attorney?
I'm sure she's going to have an attorney look over everything she sends back. I don't know what attorney will handle it, but she's got 15 days to answer those questions.
In a situation like that, does he write the answers for her? Do they have a discussion? How exactly? I have no idea.
An attorney would probably draft the answers and then make sure she's okay with that.
Based on her responses, or would it be just the opposite? Would she draft her answers and the attorney?
I don't know.
I know some of the other city officials. I'm not sure if this applies to Ollie or not. I couldn't find clarification this morning, but several other city officials have to submit video to answering the questions, where you read the questions from the page and you have to
Really?
answer them. Yeah.
Now, so at least in that instance, you do have kind of a chance to rehearse and go over your answers. It's just not like first shot out of the bag or out of the gun or
She
whatever.
may have to do it on video too. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
but what I mean is, though, you see the questions in advance.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so she can prepare her answers is the point I'm making. It's not like candidates coming in here not knowing what we're going to ask, it being videoed and that sort of being under
Yeah,
oath.
she can hold the questions for 14 days.
Okay.
She's just got to get the response back in
Okay.
15
so
days.
give me in about a minute and a half or so, maybe less, however much time it takes, a background, a little summation of the lawsuit. Who is suing the city? Why is she having to testify or at least submit her answers, and why does she not want to?
I don't know that she doesn't want to. She may have offered to. I don't know. The long and short of it
me
is.
a second. Do you think they've previously asked and she said no, where they had to get
all I know was they wanted it to be after the election. I did hear that from
So
several
it has
people.
been submitted. Hey, Ms. Mayor, would you answer these questions? And her response was, maybe later.
Give me some time, I think.
Well, the other issue was that I guess whatever the counsel for the group that's suing was, hey, we want to depose her and we want to ask any question we want. So the judge ordered, yeah, you got to answer questions, but it can only be in this scope, and to prevent things being asked that don't apply to the case per se.
So I apologize we interrupted. What's the whole lawsuit about if anybody doesn't
quickly,
know?
I'll tell you, kind of in a nutshell, it's very complicated. You pay a tax on your water and sewer bill, okay? There's a tax that you pay. Somehow,
On top of the bill.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Somehow lawmakers rolled that tax back or changed the amount you had to pay on your water and sewer bill with regard to the tax. The city was apparently still charging that tax when they should not have been charging it. And you've seen letters. I saw one from El Dorado. The city sent El Dorado a check saying, here's a refund on your payment. Several other businesses have gotten repayments. Well, the Haven and the folks at the Briarwood apartment complex, they want their money back and they're suing. And that sparked many of these checks that are now going out.
Right.
And I think the city is ready and willing to satisfy all those accounts. But this lawsuit was filed, and they have to answer it.
So this isn't. This doesn't, for anybody that might. This doesn't have anything to do with the $1 million underbilling going back a couple of years. This doesn't. This is something else entirely.
Don't know if that's tied to that or not. I mean, it's so complicated for me to try to explain it. There'll be people at City Hall screaming, "No, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. It's way too complicated for us to."
Welcome to my world, kid.
Yeah, exactly.
29 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Erin has local news. Next, here's Ruben.
Still keeping a close eye on that major accident on East Coons Industrial Loop near Wallace Lake Road. And you need to look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Greenwood Road near Hearn Avenue. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast, a spotty shower this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and not as warm today. High 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
A Barksdale airman slain in a shooting is being remembered. Matt Parker has that.
Joshua Kidd, the man killed in a shooting Tuesday morning in Green Acres Place subdivision, was an airman at Barksdale Air Force Base. According to family and neighbors, the 30-year-old airman was shot and killed while chasing after suspected burglars. A prayer vigil in honor of Kidd will be held tonight at 6:30 at Airline Baptist Church. A cash reward is being offered by Crime Stoppers for any information leading to an arrest in the shooting. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A Caddo district judge has ordered Shreveport Mayor Ollie Tyler to answer questions in a lawsuit accusing the city of improperly collecting funds from commercial water and sewer customers. However, the judge did limit the scope of what questions can be asked of Tyler. Once questions are submitted and approved, Tyler has 15 days to answer. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of the Haven Property Owners Association and Briarwood Apartments. The group claims the city improperly collected up to $3.5 million in fees and taxes. A federal judge has ruled that Louisiana charter schools have to recognize and bargain with local teacher unions. The president of the Louisiana Federation of Teachers is praising the ruling, saying the decision gives teachers, employees, and experts a voice in what takes place inside a charter school classroom. A woman gets shot in the butt in Shreveport. According to police, the woman was shot in the rear end at Tiffany Square Apartments. According to officers, the victim was sitting on her sofa when her neighbor's gun went off and struck her on her hindquarters. No arrests have been made in the case. Authorities say her wounds are not life-threatening. A new poll in the Secretary of State's special election in November is out. Democrat Renee Free in the lead, followed by Republicans Julie Stokes and Rick Edmonds. The rest of the candidates sit in the low single digits, including interim Secretary of State Kyle Ardoin, who took over after Tom Shedler's resignation that sparked the special election. Jay Couvion says Ardoin's late entry into the race has him chasing the pack.
When he announced at literally the last minute of qualifying, he didn't really have an election infrastructure that was pre-built. So in a sense, he's playing catch-up.
The poll also included results that show a 43-37 split on the question of whether or not Governor Edwards deserves to be reelected. The Senate Judiciary Committee will hear today from Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and a woman who accuses Kavanaugh of trying to rape her when they were teenagers. Christine Blasey Ford, a California psychology professor, is one of 3 accusers. Now, the attention of the nation is focused on this testimony. Pollster Bernie Pincinat says it's a smart move on behalf of the all-male Republicans on the committee to have a female come in to ask the tricky questions.
Have a female talking to another female, asking some pretty interesting questions, and some of them pointed, some of them not so kind. So a woman doing that, of course, is much better for the Republicans than.
Louisiana Senator John Kennedy serves on that committee. A father suspected of gluing shut the eyes and mouth of his 1-year-old daughter arrested in West Texas. El Paso County records show 29-year-old Johnny Lee Carter is being held on a charge of injury to a child causing serious bodily injury. I'm Erin McCarty from 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Okay, if you're watching on video, you'll be able to tell what I'm talking about. By the way, when you turn your mic on in the middle of a word, it sounds real weird.
Does it?
Yeah, it sounds real odd.
My finger slipped.
I'm going to... Mine does that, too.
Yeah.
Matt thinks it's because we're old.
I know. That could be it.
I think it's more... I think it's rather we're more infirm than old.
I just know we didn't have these problems when I was in control of the mic. That's all I'm saying.
When
Can we get a button to control his?
yeah.
I'm working on that.
I'm going to make a hand gesture to you.
Oh.
And I want to know if we can talk about this morning or if we have to wait a few days because you had kind of an adventure yesterday.
Oh no, we cannot.
Can't talk about that
Cannot.
yet?
No.
Okay.
No,
okay.
not yet.
But
do
you
want
to talk about the
fish. The fish are jumping.
Is this basically when you said your spatula is tingling?
I got my spatula mixed up with my scapula, and because
I thought scapula was like a priest thing.
I don't know, but when the cold weather hits,
mean your collarbone?
Yeah, the first cold spell in the fall,
right?
My collarbone just starts. Ooh, it's kind of tingling.
Did you ever break it there, Tony Romo?
I never have. But I do want to invite you out to Hayes Avenue Baptist Church.
This is going to be quite the turn here, but go ahead.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Because the spatulas will be flying and the fish will be flying.
Okay, Hayes Avenue Baptist Church.
In the Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association's annual fish fry.
There are parts of town I don't go to. Where is Hayes Avenue? Where is the Baptist Church?
Let's just say, you know where Shreve Island is? Dixie Garden?
Yeah.
Off of Captain Shreve. Go back up in that neighborhood and you'll find it. There'll be signs. You'll see it.
Is it basically like close to, what is it, rolling in the dough in that area?
Yeah, but just a little bit south of that.
Like the library?
On the other side of Preston.
Okay.
Yeah, and you go back in the neighborhood, you'll find it. You can't miss it.
I'm not going to quit asking questions. I'm just
Shavers
messing it
is
up.
doing the fish. It is going to be a humdinger of a party.
Okay, tell me what time.
6 o'clock tonight. If you live in the neighborhood and you're membership of the members of the association, I think you eat free. Otherwise, you can just pay a small nominal fee and you can have
and
fish.
It's basically for everybody, or is it for people in the neighborhood?
In the neighborhood, but if you want to come and become a member, you can do that. And the Shreve Island, the Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association does a lot of great work.
Basically, it's an inter-neighborhood meet and greet.
Yeah, if you want to come on out.
Intra-neighborhood
absolutely, we'd love to have you. I'll be there. I don't think I'm flying fish or flipping fish. I think it's all done.
Spatulizing.
I think it's all cooked by shavers and ready to go. But I'll sit down and dip my fish into your tartar sauce any day.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to clarify, a scapula is not a cooking utensil or your collarbone.
Yeah.
It's your shoulder blade. Just to clarify.
Well,
don't try cooking with that.
We're old.
When you've got Erin's level of tingling, sometimes it's hard to point.
Woo!
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
639, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. So, speaking of tingling, well, Greg Tarver might. Maybe in his case, tingling is more like cramps. We'll see what's up.
Oh, boy.
That's coming up next. Right now, traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping a close eye on that major accident on East Coons Industrial Loop near Wallace Lake Road. And you need to look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Greenwood Road near Hearn Avenue. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast, a spotty shower this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and not as warm today, high 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
One 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. Okay, so just to summarize, Carolyn Prater, despite nominations, recommendations by any number of state-level authorities, was not appointed to the Red River Waterway Commission by Governor John Bell.
Not state authorities, by local.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
in this part of the state.
Right.
And they are markedly more under the aegis of state control than they are anybody local, is the point I was making. So the Red River Waterway Commission, well, anyway, so she was not appointed. According to Senator Greg Tarver, Democrat Senator Greg Tarver, John Bell told him in a phone call, according to Mr. Gregg, John Bell said that the reason that Ms. Prater was not put on the board, was on the Waterway Commission, was payback against her husband, Sheriff Steve Prater, for his opposition and open criticism to his Judicial Reform Act.
Yes.
So the
governor says that's not true. Tarver says I stand by that.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, the levy district, what exactly is the full name from this part of the state?
Caddo Levy District.
Wanted a legal opinion from the state attorney general, i.e. Jeff Landry and or his office, because evidently the way the statute is written, the way the rules are written, the governor has to appoint the person nominated and or recommended by a number of waterway, sort of like the Levy Commission and others. And Mr. Jeff said, the opinion of the Attorney General is, and it came out a couple of days ago, yes, the governor broke the rules.
Right.
So that's where we are.
And the Attorney General filed suit. He has filed suit against the Red River Waterway Commission to have a couple of members declared invalid members of the commission. One of them being Ronald Latier, who was moved to the Caddo spot on the commission from an at-large position. Okay? So now this is a letter from Senator Greg Tarver to Jeff Landry.
Wait. Missing a step in here. Did this come directly from Senator Greg Tarver?
The governor's office forwarded me the letter.
And so would it be safe to assume there has been at least some limited communication between Senator Tarver and the governor's office?
Oh, absolutely.
Or do you think Mr. Gregg just sent this to the governor, said, I'm sending this, and he sent it to the governor's office, who forwarded it to you?
And he copied. I don't know. I mean, Greg Tarver copies me on a lot of things. I didn't get this, so I'm surprised I didn't.
So this is Senator Tarver.
From September 25th, a letter to the Honorable Jeff Landry.
Okay.
Dear Attorney General Landry, I hear a suit has been filed to remove Mr. Ronald Latier from the Red River Waterway Commission. Under no circumstances do I support or agree with the decision to have him removed. I have known Mr. Latier for a very long time, and he has proven to be a very diligent, devoted, and skillful young man and fine attorney. He was confirmed by the Senate and Governmental Affairs Committee and by the full Senate, and I am reaffirming my support of his Senate confirmation. I want to make myself very clear. I do not want him removed from the commission under any circumstances. I also want to make it clear that I support him on being on the Red River Waterway Commission. Sincerely, Senator Greg Tarver.
So Mr. Gregg sent that to Jeff Landry, but it really doesn't say anything about the legality or illegality about following the rules or breaking the rules.
Nope.
With
doesn't say I don't support your lawsuit. I think you should drop your lawsuit. I think the Waterway Commission's legal.
So
it says I like Mr. Latier.
So what's the purpose of that letter? I'm intrigued. What does it hope to? Why?
He doesn't want him removed. Perhaps he would like the legal channel to move him back to the I don't know, to move him back to the at-large spot. I don't know.
I mean, if there's two, I'm a little puzzled by that. In fact, I'm a lot of puzzled by that. I could see if Mr. Gregg sent Jeff Landry a letter saying, no, the governor followed the rules. I think in a very careful way and or politically correct way, if you will, to say, and I think that your filing this lawsuit is out of line, and I think the governor's cool. But what he says is the governor's cool. He skips a lot of the steps. Does that make sense?
Yeah. He just likes Ron Latier, and, you know, he's a supporter and wants him to stay on that panel.
But he doesn't say anything about the governor following the rules. He doesn't say, I disagree with your lawsuit.
No,
I disagree with the levy board. I disagree with a lot of people who think the governor didn't follow the rules in skipping over Ms. Prater.
Absolutely. And maybe, you know, I'll send Greg a note and say, do you think the lawsuit is justified? Because I got a text. Here's the problem. Ron Latier was nominated by the Caddo Parish Commission. We all agree and admit that. He was nominated in November, okay? That's prior to Mickey Prestridge dying. He died in February. So Ron Latier was nominated for the at-large spot, okay? You had Mickey Prestridge serving in the Caddo spot. Upon the death of Mr. Prestridge, can you go back then and say, we got a nomination for Mr. Latier? I'm told the law says the nomination must come after the vacancy. The nomination must come from the local bodies after the vacancy is notified.
In other words, after the chair opens, if you will.
Right. And that, in the case of Ron Latier, did not happen. His nomination came prior to the death, and that's where where the rub is.
Is that the case that the levy board is making? Is that the point? Is that one of the points brought up in the Landry lawsuit?
Oh, absolutely, and that will be if you go down to the bottom line, that's going to be it. Yes, Governor, we agree he was nominated by the Caddo Commission, but they nominated him for the at-large seat.
Did I see you raise your bony little finger over there? Did you have a thought? Okay.
So it's it's a mess, and Mr. Landry and I have been communicating kind of with this Verizon mess. We haven't actually connected, but he wants to talk to us about this, and I'm going to try to set it up
with what mess?
What are you talking about?
You just said, I've been talking to Landry about the something mess.
This whole mess.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Verizon mess, and I totally
yeah, with the Verizon mess, I haven't been able to talk to him physically but yesterday we didn't talk.
Okay.
So I'm trying to arrange him to come on and go, what is the sticking point? What's the one point you're going to stick with and you think will hold water?
I'm intrigued by what Senator Tarver did not put in that letter, as opposed to what he did.
You bet.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, here's your KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. What chance of rain again today, although less than the last few days. High today of about 85. Right now 64 at Keel. It's 650. Here's your money now. Good morning at 6:52. Here's Keel Sports. Fletch is here.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Two huge games kick off the high school football week. Starting tonight, the annual grudge match between Byrd and Captain Shreve at Lee Hedges features teams with a combined record of 7-1. But usually the records don't even matter when these two rivals square off. Unbeaten Northwood entertains Benton tonight. The Falcons dispatched North DeSoto last week and try to keep the hot side hot tonight at home. Chasen Hines, the LSU freshman offensive lineman and former Marshall Maverick, will get his first start for the Tigers Saturday night against Ole Miss. Hines will fill the role normally occupied by Garrett Brumfield, who suffered a knee injury in the win over Louisiana Tech and will miss a couple of weeks, according to Coach Ed Orgeron. There was some good news on the injury front for the Tigers. Adrian McGee practiced in full pads and worked with the first-team offense at left tackle during individual drills, according to the Advocate. He's been on the shelf since suffering an injury in the season-opening win over Miami. Saints quarterback Drew Brees was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week after his 5 total touchdown performance in Sunday's win over Atlanta. Brees also broke the record for career completions in the game. New Orleans travels to Jersey to face the Giants this weekend. In practice Wednesday, Alvin Kamara, Cam Jordan joined Andrus Peat, Tyler Davison, Ted Ginn Jr., and Cameron Meredith as limited participants due to injury. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.655, 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Mayoral candidate Stephen Jackson. So we had Adrian on Monday, Adrian Perkins, Tuesday rather.
Mm-hmm.
Then yesterday we had Leo Savage and Jim Talaferro. The
Yes.
3 of those interviews are on the Keel website at keelnews.com.
Mm-hmm.
And candidate Stephen Jackson this morning just after 7 o'clock, as a matter
Right.
of fact, about 20 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have not heard back from the mayor. I'll guess I'll text her again on her private line and, see if she's heard from her campaign people, because they were waiting on a date from her, and I don't know that she's gotten back to them or they haven't gotten back to me. I'm not sure. I'm pretty certain she'll come in and do it. I may be wrong, but
the one thing we've gotten from all the candidates so far, Mr. Stephen will probably say the same thing. Sure are a lot of forums. You've been around this city for 30 years.
Never this many.
We'll talk about it just after 7, maybe with Stephen. 1017 FM, 710 Keel, 656. Here's Rush.
A former National Security Agency employee is going to jail for 5.5 years. Nia Pho took classified materials home where Russian spies hacked into his unsecure computer and stole the NSA's hacking toolkit. The Justice Department says that Pho's reckless and illegal handling of highly classified materials put our intelligence community at risk. His conviction, they say, reaffirms the expectations that the government places on those who are sworn to safeguard the nation's secrets. Pho joins Reality Winner and another government employee convicted in the past 2 years of mishandling highly classified information. Now, am I the only one who notices the elephant or the donkey in the room here, wearing a pantsuit and a back brace? That would be Hillary Rodham Clinton. She had a private server in her basement, for goodness sake. She recklessly handled highly classified material on a daily basis. If Russian spies targeted a lowly NSA employee, don't you think they and every other foreign spy agency was looking at Hillary's emails? I mean, she's Secretary of State out there. The only thing this conviction reaffirms is that Hillary got away with it because there's a dual standard of justice in Washington. Republicans guilty, Democrats not even prosecuted.
Did you know that over 90% of male enhancement pills are virtually the same thing that's repackaged, redone over and over again? Why settle for the same old product when you can get something completely different? Something that takes male enhancement into the 21st century. Something that really works. Men, you need to try Noxitril, the explosive, all-natural male enhancement formula that will unlock your performance in the bedroom to a level you could only dream of. Try to imagine Viagra on steroids. Noxitril is so powerful, that's why it took years for it to finally become available to the public without a prescription. So call now and take advantage of our special Noxitril free bottle offer today. Oh yeah, we recommend that you use the Noxitril dose as directed. Think of your partner. We certainly don't want you to overperform in the bedroom.
Call now and find out how to get a free bottle of Noxitril while supplies last. Call 1-800-605-1673. Free bottles for a limited time, so call now. 800-605-1673. That's 800-605-1673.
The intersection at Greenwood Road and Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near McDade Street in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast will have a stray shower this morning, not as warm otherwise today. Plenty of clouds and a high of 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
703 Robert and Erin, 1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Don't forget the KEEL app, a free download from Office Furniture Source. Down there, Miss Erin, local news coming up next.
The mayor must answer questions in the water billing case. We'll talk more about that. Our community remembers a Barksdale airman and a pretty big ruling on charter schools.
Mayoral candidate Stephen Jackson in studio in less than 10 minutes. Naturally, a lot of questions. Naturally, he'll get plenty of time. Fletcher in sports, traffic, and weather. It's all coming up this hour right here on KEEL.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
A Caddo District Court judge has ordered Shreveport Mayor Ollie Tyler to answer questions in a lawsuit accusing the city of improperly collecting funds from commercial water and sewer customers. However, the judge did limit the scope of what questions can be asked of Tyler. Once questions are submitted and approved, Tyler will have 15 days to answer. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of the Haven Property Owners Association and Briarwood Apartments. The group claims the city improperly collected up to $3.5 million in fees and taxes. Barksdale airman slain in a shooting is being remembered. Joshua Kidd is the man killed in a shooting Tuesday in Green Acres Place. He was an airman at Barksdale. According to family and neighbors, the 30-year-old airman was shot and killed while chasing after suspected burglars. A prayer vigil in honor of Kidd will be held tonight at Airline Baptist Church. There's a cash reward being offered by Crime Stoppers, and a GoFundMe account has now been set up to help his family. Judge makes a big ruling on charter schools. We get more on that from Matt Parker.
A federal court has ruled that Louisiana charter schools have to recognize and bargain with local teacher unions. The president of the Louisiana Federation of Teachers is praising the ruling, saying that the decision gives teachers, employees, and experts a voice in what takes place inside a charter school classroom. From 1017 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A woman gets shot in the butt in Shreveport. According to police, the woman was shot in the derriere at Tiffany Square Apartments. According to officers, the victim was sitting on her sofa when her neighbor's gun went off and struck her on the backside. No arrests have been made in the case. Authorities say her wounds are not life-threatening. The Senate Judiciary Committee raising the curtain on what promises to be high drama. A hearing in which senators will listen to a woman accuse Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexually assaulting her, then weigh his denial. President Trump implies Democrats put forward the Kavanaugh accusers in an effort to smear his reputation and derail his confirmation for purely political purposes.
This is a big con job, and I would love to be in the room with the Democrats, close the door, you guys are all away outside waiting, and Schumer and his buddies are all in there laughing how they fooled you all. Let's just stop them. A big fat con.
A third accuser of Judge Kavanaugh came forward with allegations that the nominee took part in sexually inappropriate activities when he was young. Bill Cosby may be in prison, but his legal team is still at work. Cosby's lawyers are preparing to appeal his conviction on sex assault charges. Much of that effort is aimed at mounting legal challenges to decisions made by the judge during that trial. Texas has carried out the first of 2 executions scheduled for consecutive nights. Jack Callahan has details.
Denying his guilt to the very end, Troy Clark was given a lethal injection in Texas last evening. He'd been convicted of torturing and drowning an East Texas woman in 1998, fearing she'd implicate him for his drug dealing. Among his last words, "Whatever makes you happy, see y'all on the other side." Tonight, it's Daniel Acker's turn. He's scheduled to be executed for the murder of his girlfriend in the spring of 2000. But Acker has a final appeal pending before the U.S. Supreme Court, arguing his execution should be halted because the state can't definitively say how the woman died. Jack Callahan, Fox News.
Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association hosting a big fish fry tonight at the Hayes Avenue Baptist Church beginning at 6. Residents of that neighborhood are all invited. And thieves in Colorado got quite a surprise. They thought they were stealing a big stash of marijuana, but when they got to their place and cracked it open, it was oregano. I'm Erin McCarty from 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Ten past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Traffic time. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye on some slow-moving traffic on Texas Avenue near Murphy Street, and we have some traffic delays on Shed Road near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast, a spotty shower this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and not as warm today, high 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 12 past 7 o'clock. Keel app is a free download from Office Furniture Source. Mayoral candidate Stephen Jackson, I was going to say the last of our candidates, well, the last of the candidates that we've heard from who are booked. We had Adrian on Monday, and we had Mr. Jim and Leo yesterday, and this morning in studio is candidate Stephen Jackson. Welcome back to Keel, young man.
Good morning, Erin and Robert, and thank you for having me back, and good morning, Matt, as well.
Let me hold on a second. I saw this on your page last night, and I wanted to start here, and I hope I can find it rapidly.
Okay.
There's the one about pre-K. We can talk about that later. I cannot find precise. Here we go. It was a response to one of your Facebook followers about you can only speak to the strengths and assets that make you a viable candidate. Here you go. I have articulated a comprehensive plan that lays out a vision for moving Shreveport forward, as well as a track record of standing up and advocating for all. If anybody doesn't know, here's your chance. Give you about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. What is your comprehensive plan to move Shreveport forward?
Well, yes, we've articulated comprehensive plans. We call it our opportunity agenda. I believe Shreveport has to be positioned as a city of opportunity. So we talk about how do we revitalize our economy with jobs, economic growth, net economic growth. How do we invest in our communities through home ownership, clear out the blight and dilapidations that are there, stand up for our medical school and health center, and how do we get a handle on crime? And so those things with so much more, rolling out pre-K for all, investing in our local workforce economy, and so making sure that we have something for all individuals to succeed.
You know, Erin has asked everybody that's come in the following question, so I'm going to steal your question.
Go ahead.
That's a pretty heady agenda. That ain't cheap. We're not a city flush with cash.
Absolutely.
What? Where's that money coming from?
Well, I tell people that budgeting is about priorities, and if you look at where your priorities are, you make the resources and allocations available. You don't have to do everything that I've outlined. electstephenjackson.com. We've identified a funding source for it. We don't call for any new taxes. We don't call for any new fees as well.
You've identified a funding source.
Correct.
Which means you found ways to trim the budget.
Correct.
Give me some examples of where you're going to trim the budget.
Before you answer, pardon me, because of the three candidates we've had in, I think all three have called for an independent audit of City Hall and the budgeting and all the departments. And what we infer from that is that they think that Shreveport city government is run inefficiently. And I think Leo's was mismanagement and waste.
Correct.
Is there in your mind mismanagement and waste? Do you think that the monies could be better spent?
Right. I think we have an issue of priorities. I think even the current administration has said when they ran in the previous election that there was inefficiency and waste, and when they got there, they realized it wasn't as much waste as they see. And to call for a third-party audit when the city's internal auditors already do third-party audits is just more waste and more government spending. So what they're saying is they want to duplicate what's already being done. We pay people now in the city's internal auditor's office to do that right now.
Let me get one more here quick.
Go ahead.
Because you hear Trump talking all the time, or conservative pundits always talking about deep state, i.e. the government within the government. Is at virtually every level of government is the bureaucracy, and maybe in Shreveport city government too, you would know because, well, you're on the Cattle Commission now. But the point is there sort of a Shreveport bureaucracy deep state that might be really difficult to unravel?
I would say no. The men and women who go to work every day to move the city forward and work for the city of Shreveport, they put in their best. And so I don't want to take a knock at them or the individuals who may be sort of stuck in their ways of doing things. And we need to make sure that they understand what the vision and how we move Shreveport forward and how their job performance heavily relies on that. Then yes, and there may be individuals who may have to be asked to leave, but to categorically cast that net over everybody who's a city employee, I think is unfair to those
give me
city
some.
employees.
Let's get back to the
Correct,
the
yes.
cuts. Give me some specific areas you think we can trim the budget.
Correct, and I wouldn't necessarily say trim. I think redirect. I often tell people the $6 million that we're using every year to do the patchwork street repairs that we see. We're maxing out the SWEPCO franchise fee, which I think is not the best use of it. We're maxing that out. That's monies that can be allocated and put aside working with the city council to do some other things.
That's not bond issue money that's got to be used a certain way?
No.
Okay.
What you can do is you can long-term bond that $6 million out over a period of time, Or what you can do is you can reallocate those dollars that are unused over a period of time to go to other priorities. And so that's one of the first things that I think we can take a look at is how we're using that $6 million in additional street special revenue fund. We can look at some things such as what are we doing with regard to our water and sewer consent decree projects. Those are things where you see change order after change order after change order. A project is bid on for $3 million, and by the time it finishes, it's $7 million.
Let me ask you this. A gentleman came before the city council this week, and he stood up, and he's a coach for SPAR, a football coach, and he begged the council and the mayor. He said some of our teams, our SPAR league teams, play their games in Bossier. Stephen, that sounds absurd to me.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
It sounds like we don't have enough. What are we going to do to solve that? We don't want these kids to leave Shreveport to go play ball in Bossier.
Right. Well, what we have to do is we have to create an environment where we're working to update all of our facilities. We did the $750 million bond package, and that just wasn't enough. And so what we have to start doing is looking strategically as a community on what facilities do we need to upgrade? What do we want? As opposed to having conversations about a sports complex out on the Cross Bayou edge of town that's not going to provide anything for anybody, and it's going to cannibalize what we already have.
You've been famous as saying Superman's not coming.
Superman is not coming.
The days of us attracting a General Motors or an AT&T or a big company like that or a Amazon distribution complex. You really think there's not a chance for this city to attract something like that?
Well, I'm not saying that there's not a chance. What I'm saying is we have to understand that the way in which productivity and manufacturing is done now, a lot of these jobs are now automated. And so there's a machine doing a lot of the work that individuals did 15, 20, 30 years ago. And so we have to come to reality with that. Now, that's not to say that those jobs don't exist anymore, but they are few and far between. And what we have to do is, part of my priorities is making sure we have a conversation about that General Motors plant. I'd love to see the Port of Caddo Bossier take it over as opposed to having our volunteer industrial development board work with it. Eric England out at the Port of Caddo Bossier, they do a great job at attracting industrial enterprises here, companies here. And so why would we just allow, and I think the industrial development board, they're open to having that conversation. Eric is open to having that conversation, but we have to have individuals who are dedicated every day to going out and marketing and recruiting companies to the General Motors plant. So I'm not saying that it's not here, but to just assume that when Amazon says we have an RFP, that they're going to automatically start looking at Shreveport. One of the problems with the General Motors plant is how it's built. It's not built up to modern day manufacturing standards. It's a great plant, but the Toyota plant couldn't come here because the assembly line is totally different from the way Toyota manufactures its cars. And so we have to start the process now of getting ready for those opportunities. We don't want to be a city that's getting ready or will get ready. We want to be a city that's always ready.
Mayoral candidate Stephen Jackson, more is on the way, 20 past 7 o'clock, 1017 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye on some slow-moving traffic on Texas Avenue near Murphy Street, and we have some traffic delays on Shed Road near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast will have a stray shower this morning. Not as warm otherwise today. Plenty of clouds and a high of 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
22 past 7 o'clock, Keel Sports. Fletch is here.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Two huge games kick off the high school football week. Starting tonight, the annual grudge match between Byrd and Captain Shreve at Lee Hedges features teams with a combined record of 7-1. But usually the records don't even matter when these two rivals square off. Unbeaten Northwood entertains Benton tonight. The Falcons dispatched North DeSoto last week and try to keep the hot side hot tonight at home. Chasen Hines, the LSU freshman offensive lineman and former Marshall Maverick, will get his first start for the Tigers Saturday night against Ole Miss. Hines will fill the role normally occupied by Garrett Brumfield, who suffered a knee injury in the win over Louisiana Tech and will miss a couple of weeks, according to Coach Ed Orgeron. There was some good news on the injury front for the Tigers. Adrian McGee practiced in full pads and worked with the first-team offense at left tackle during individual drills, according to the Advocate. He's been on the shelf since suffering an injury in the season-opening win over Miami. Saints quarterback Drew Brees was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week after his 5 total touchdown performance in Sunday's win over Atlanta. Brees also broke the record for career completions in the game. New Orleans travels to Jersey to face the Giants this weekend. In practice Wednesday, Alvin Kamara, Cam Jordan joined Andrus Peat, Tyler Davison, Ted Ginn Jr., and Cameron Meredith as limited participants due to injury. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.107 FM and 710 Keel, Robert and Erin, 26 past 7 o'clock. Mayoral candidate Stephen Jackson is here. God, every time I talk about this, I get in trouble. We had Adrian on yesterday, on Wednesday. What day is today? Thursday? On Tuesday. Then we had Leo and Mr. Jim in yesterday. And every time I talk about this, everybody gets all like, oh, you can't talk about that. And I asked Adrian and I asked Jim. We got off on a little tangent with Leo, and I did not get to it. Erin asked Adrian on Tuesday, is there a racial divide in Shreveport? And he gave her, was it fair to say he gave you a sly smile before responding?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he said yes. And there are, let us be blunt, no matter who wins the mayoral election, there's a lot of white people in Shreveport. If a black guy gets elected or if Miss Ollie's reelected, they're going to say, that's not my mayor. And I think there's a lot of black folks who might do the same thing if a white guy were elected. What can the mayor of Shreveport do as a not so much, well, maybe moral leader, but inspirational leader to begin to bridge that gap in that divide that a lot of people think exists?
Well, I think what you have to do is you have to have a leader that's a consensus builder, a unifier that's willing to reach across party line, racial lines, to work for what is right. I often tell people it doesn't take a whole lot to simply do the right thing. And a lot of things start out, in my opinion, with just having a conversation, being able to talk with one another. A lot of times we talk at each other and not to and with each other. We talk around the issue and not about issues. And so, we have to get back to the days where we're having those town hall meetings, where we're not afraid to go into different areas of town where we feel where individuals may not be accepted in those things. We have to start having that conversation in an honest way, but we also have to not only talk about the racial divide, we have to talk about the wealth and equity divide here in our city as well.
That's the biggest problem.
And a lot of, and it's that's one of the most prevalent problems. You have 47% of Shreveport residents who live either below poverty or at poverty, and that's not a black or white issue. That's a black and white issue.
So what does a mayor do to begin to tackle that problem? Because we kind of talked with Adrian a little bit about multi-generational poverty.
Right. We have to create an economy where we provide. That's why I say we have to become a city of opportunity. We have to recruit jobs here. I talked about getting to the root causes of poverty. We know that when students start out with pre-K education, they perform better. They're not ending up in our incarceration system. We detect the mental health illnesses that they may have at an earlier stage, as opposed to trying to deal with them at adults and continuing those efforts of generational poverty. My crime plan even talks about partnering more with our mental health providers. My priorities talk about investing in pre-K, getting to the root causes of things that create these equity and wealth disparities, investing in more local business, providing those contracting opportunities to more local businesses.
One of the big issues.
Hold your question?
No.
Okay.
I got to ask this one. We're on this subject.
I'm going now.
One of the big issues that's racially divided our city is I-49.
Okay.
Will you, as mayor, stick with the decision made by NLCOG to run that freeway through Allendale?
Well, I think the decision has been submitted to the Federal Highway Administration. What I would like to see us do is have a conversation about a business boulevard, because what I wouldn't want us to do is...
So you would try to reverse the decision that's already been made?
That's not reversing. If you have a business boulevard, what I'm saying is we have to have a business boulevard that supports local traffic. We don't want folks simply passing.
Federal government's not going to allow that, Stephen.
I mean, the federal government is doing a lot of things that are changing. They changed the funding formula. We can't talk about putting a highway through somewhere and we don't even have the money. The federal government is now changing the funding formula. So before we talk about any of these things, we also have to talk about how do you even pay for this if this is the direction that the Federal Highway Administration. So now that NLCOG has submitted its recommendation to the Federal Highway Administration, whether I like it or not, that decision now is in the federal government's hand. What we have to do is start talking about how do we build a business boulevard, how do we maximize the opportunity coming into the city limits, and how do we make the individuals who live in that community whole. We shouldn't just plow through a neighborhood without making individuals whole. We shouldn't just sop up the only properties that they've ever owned in their lives. A lot of it inherited sometimes.
Well, they're gonna relocate them. That's typical.
Well, relocating is not the same as making them whole.
I understand.
So
I get you. I get you.
So relocating a person is not the same as making them whole. And we have to, again, that's back to equity, and we have to have an honest conversation about
Can we
equity.
tie you to your chair and keep you here a minute?
Sure,
All right.
absolutely. I'm not
1017 FM.
Donuts and juice.
1017 FM, 710 KEEL. More with mayoral candidate Stephen Jackson on the way. Right now, traffic update and local news and just a lot of stuff. Here's Ruben.
Intersection at West 70th Street and Linwood Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road just north of I-220 in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast, a spotty shower this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and not as warm today. High 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
U.S. Air Force B-52 bombers in international airspace near China this week, the same day China canceled a port call for a U.S. warship in Hong Kong, which was scheduled for next month. Lucas Tomlinson has more from the Pentagon.
The B-52 bombers flew in both the East China Sea and South China Sea, where China has built up its man-made islands despite a pledge not to do so. This week, China yanked its top admiral from Newport, Rhode Island, ahead of a meeting with his American counterpart. Defense Secretary Mattis downplayed tensions with China outside the Pentagon.
I don't think that we're seeing a fundamental shift in anything. We're just going through one of those periodic points where we've got to learn to manage our differences.
Last week, the Trump administration slapped new sanctions on Beijing for buying Russian fighter jets and missiles. At the Pentagon, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
A Caddo district judge has ordered Shreveport Mayor Ollie Tyler to answer questions in a lawsuit accusing the city of improperly collecting funds from commercial water and sewer customers. However, the judge did limit the scope of what questions can be asked of Tyler. It won't be open-ended. Once the questions are submitted and approved, Tyler will have 15 days to respond. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of the Haven Property Owners Association and Briarwood Apartments. The group claims the city improperly collected up to $3.5 million in fees and taxes. A Barksdale airman slain in a shooting. Matt Parker has that.
Joshua Kidd, the man killed in a shooting Tuesday morning in Green Acres Place subdivision, was an airman at Barksdale Air Force Base. According to family and neighbors, the 30-year-old airman was shot and killed while chasing after suspected burglars. A prayer vigil in honor of Kidd will be held tonight at 6:30 at Airline Baptist Church. A cash reward is being offered by Crime Stoppers for any information leading to an arrest in the shooting. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A federal judge has ruled that Louisiana charter schools have to recognize and bargain with local teacher unions. The president of the Louisiana Federation of Teachers is praising the ruling, saying the decision gives teachers, employees, and experts a voice in what takes place inside a charter school classroom. A woman gets shot in the butt in Shreveport. According to police, the woman was shot in the rear end at Tiffany Square Apartments. According to officers, the victim was sitting on her sofa when her neighbor's gun went off and struck her on her hindquarters. No arrests have been made in the case. Authorities say her wounds are not life-threatening. A new poll in the Secretary of State's special election in November is out. Democrat Renee Free in the lead, followed by Republicans Julie Stokes and Rick Edmonds. The rest of the candidates sit in the low single digits, including interim Secretary of State Kyle Ardoin, who took over after Tom Shedler's resignation that sparked the special election. Jake Houvion says Ardoin's late entry into the race has him chasing the pack.
When he announced at literally the last minute of qualifying, he didn't really have an election infrastructure that was pre-built. So in a sense, he's playing catch-up.
The poll also included results that show a 43-37 split on the question of whether or not Governor Edwards deserves to be reelected. The Senate Judiciary Committee will hear today from Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and a woman who accuses Kavanaugh of trying to rape her when they were teenagers. Christine Blasey Ford, a California psychology professor, is one of 3 accusers. Now, the attention of the nation is focused on this testimony. Pollster Bernie Pincinat says it's a smart move on behalf of the all-male Republicans on the committee to have a female come in to ask the tricky questions.
Have a female talking to another female, asking some pretty interesting questions, and some of them pointed, some of them not so kind. So a woman doing that, of course, is much better for the Republicans than.
Louisiana Senator John Kennedy serves on that committee. A father suspected of gluing shut the eyes and mouth of his 1-year-old daughter arrested in West Texas. El Paso County records show 29-year-old Johnny Lee Carter is being held on a charge of injury to a child causing serious bodily injury. I'm Erin McCarty from 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
1017 FM 710 Keel. Robert and Erin. Stephen Jackson, mayoral candidate, currently Caddo Commissioner, is here. I have kind of an economy question, may I?
Okay, go ahead.
Since, we've talked about this a lot, since about, what, like 1990 or so, Shreveport has lost from a variety of industries close to, what, 15 to 20,000. I mean, you're talking about GM, you're talking about the AT&T plant, the old Western Electric. We've lost thousands and thousands and thousands of economic jobs. We are, and I say this all the time, when it comes to, and I mentioned this yesterday, when it goes back to those old videos of God, what was his name? You hear those, you can hear the sucking sound is those,
Right.
What was the guy's name? I can't think of it.
Don't know.
Ross Perot. Shreveport is the example of all those trade deals that have happened. Now, you say Superman ain't coming back, and I understand that you eat that elephant a bite at a time, but in the scheme of things, what do we do to build that economy if those jobs don't exist and ain't coming back?
Well, we have to invest in our local community. We have a lot of opportunities here. The water and sewer consent decree is an opportunity to stimulate our economy. But what we're doing is we're sending a lot of those contracting opportunities to individuals out of the state, companies outside of the state outside the state of Louisiana, outside the city of Shreveport. So that's an opportunity to invest in our local economy right there. We have developers. I talked to the Realtors and the Home Builders Association. When companies come into town, even when they receive local tax incentives, they bring their own construction workers with them. They build the development, and then they go back out of town. That's not fair to our local development community because though our local developers employ people. We have to have one of my priorities is making sure that we have an economic development team of trained economic development professionals, independent of politics, that are going to go out, vet projects, not only recruit companies here, but retain and build up what we have.
Let me ask you a budget reserve question.
Sure.
What is your goal for how much should be in the budget reserves and why?
Well, I think right now we're teetering about 2 or 3%. I'd like to see us graduate to a point of at least 4%, back up to the 7% that it should be. And part of that, again, is the $6 million that I'm talking about, how we're spending our revenue sources. We also need to take a look at what are we getting out of the convention center and hotel. Because that's revenue that, we're missing. We're paying citizens debt we're paying the debt services on those things. And I heard somebody say that Moody's downgraded our bond rating because we're overtaxed. Well, actually, if you look at what Moody's said we're not liquid enough. We have too many fixed liabilities, such as pensions and retirement and debt. And we don't have enough assets, we don't have enough revenue to cover it. I'm not advocating for any additional taxes, but this notion that, the reason why we were downgraded because we were overtaxed, that's nowhere in the Moody's report.
You're elected mayor, you're on the second floor going up to the office day one. First 3 things Mayor Jackson does.
I have a conversation with all of the department heads to let them know what my vision and priorities are. And we make sure that we're all on the same playing field and make sure that, we start building a team of individuals. I have a conversation with 2 individuals, specifically the police chief and the director of water and sewer. And we start working toward a process of finding a replacement, a comprehensive search. Very thorough search for their replacements and how do
water and sewer and police chief.
Oh, absolutely, because I don't think we can talk about replacing the police chief without talking about, we've seen blunder after blunder after blunder in our water and sewer department, and that's a leadership management issue as well, and nobody's called for that resignation.
Your own CAO as well?
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely, without question, own CAO, and because the current CAO is the one who put in the water and sewer billing system. A lot of people don't talk about that, but he was the interim water and sewer director when the water and sewer billing system that was put in place was put there. And then my third thing is have a conversation with our development community to talk about how we're going, and the parish commission as well. About
when you say development community, who's that?
I'm talking about the chamber. I'm talking about NLEP. I'm talking about investors so that we can start building that economic development entity that I'm talking about, a joint city parish, just as it's called for in our 2030 Great Expectations Master Plan.
Every candidate we've had in, of all 4 of you guys so far, is the one, when we ask, what are people talking to you about the most, everyone says, It's crime, man. That's the perception that crime is rampant, that you see on TV. Take back the streets. What is your crime plan? Do you see it as the crisis situation that the citizenry seems to see it as?
Well, I'm going to disagree on that every citizen, because I go and walk neighborhoods. Everybody is not telling me about crime. A lot of people are telling me about the economy. But crime is part of the conversation because they see crime as a byproduct, as a poor economy. But, you know, my approach to crime is a sort of a neighborhood down approach. I don't believe that we should create standalone substations. I'd like to see us do maybe a build out at our SPAR centers where we have sort of like command stations there. We already have those. We're talking about already limited resources now. And so we have to be very efficient and effective on how we do that. So I think an expansion of those SPAR facilities to have more patrol officers right there at the neighborhood level. I'd like to incentivize our police officers to be able to live in the neighborhoods that they patrol. Again, an incentive and encouragement, not a mandate. And I've been a big proponent of integrating technology into our crime fighting system with gunshot detection and crime cameras, as well as a greater marriage between our mental health community, faith-based community to address the crime issue, get to the root causes of these crime issues.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but listening to you and knowing you for a while now, you strike me, and correct me if I'm wrong, you strike me when it comes to government as a very frugal, penny-pinching sort of man. Would that be unfair?
I think that's a fair assessment to say I'm pretty frugal. I am frugal. My nickname in college was Tight Junior.
Well, Tight, will we see more? Will we see more police officers in our neighborhoods?
Yes.
Are you going to reallocate?
Yes.
And move them around? And what are the numbers?
Well,
Who do we believe?
That's what I believe, that neighborhood approach, and I believe having a more neighborhood-centric approach. I think our police districts are too big right now. If you have a shooting in Cherokee Park and you have an armed robbery on the Cooper Road, the amount of time for the police officers to respond that are patrolling that district is quite a bit. So that's why I believe having more police officers centered at the neighborhood level with those patrol stations right there at our SPAR centers and having a more neighborhood, create more sort of police districts within that neighborhood. So you'd have a district within that district as well. So a more of a neighborhood down type approach.
Stephen Jackson, candidate for mayor of Shreveport. Thanks for your
Thank
time.
You.
I
Thank
hope
you
to
all
do it
for
again.
Coming in. Oh, absolutely. Let me
746, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic update right now. Here's Ruben.
Looking right now at some slow-moving traffic at the intersection of Kings Highway and Mansfield Road. And we have some traffic delays on Airline Drive near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast will have a stray shower this morning. Not as warm otherwise today. Plenty of clouds and a high of 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.117 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Okay, coming up just after 8 o'clock, we have to, you were kind of waving frantically.
His favorite movie, we forgot to get to. You sent me that. What was it?
Oh, Lion King.
See, I'm with him on Lion King. That's
Lion
a great
King's
movie.
The circle of life.
You know, when you were doing so well.
Okay.
No, it's okay. I watched Lion King once.
Okay.
And if anybody who knows me will tell you this about me, Any movie that has, be it animated, CG, Pixar, real, whatever it is, I cannot watch movies where animals get in trouble.
Oh.
And so, like Homeward Bound, you're dreaming. I can't watch Homeward Bound. I can't watch Benji movies.
Okay.
And it's that bad. If you start singing "How Much Is That Doggy in the Window," I start to cry.
He does. He
Well,
cries.
it's The Lion King is a great depiction of faith. You talk about faith a lot in The Lion King. You talk a lot about self-redemption. And one of the things that you learn is that leadership is not always glamorous. There's sacrifice with leadership, and that's what Mufasa eventually learned as he went out to protect his pride. Protect his family.
Somebody took literature courses in college. 101.7 FM.
Masters of Liberal Arts, LSUS.
See? 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Where are we going? Sports time. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. 2 huge games kick off the high school football week. Starting tonight, the annual grudge match between Byrd and Captain Shreve at Lee Hedges features teams with a combined record of 7-1. But usually the records don't even matter when these two rivals square off. Unbeaten Northwood entertains Benton tonight. The Falcons dispatched North DeSoto last week and try to keep the hot side hot tonight at home. Chasen Hines, the LSU freshman offensive lineman and former Marshall Maverick, will get his first start for the Tigers Saturday night against Ole Miss. Hines will fill the role normally occupied by Garrett Brumfield, who suffered a knee injury in the win over Louisiana Tech and will miss a couple of weeks, according to Coach Ed Orgeron. There was some good news on the injury front for the Tigers. Adrian McGee practiced in full pads and worked with the first-team offense at left tackle during individual drills, according to the Advocate. He's been on the shelf since suffering an injury in the season-opening win over Miami. Saints quarterback Drew Brees was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week after his 5 total touchdown performance in Sunday's win over Atlanta. Brees also broke the record for career completions in the game. New Orleans travels to Jersey to face the Giants this weekend. In practice Wednesday, Alvin Kamara, Cam Jordan joined Andrus Peat, Tyler Davison, Ted Ginn Jr., and Cameron Meredith as limited participants due to injury. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
One 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert and Erin, 753, started to say before Mr. Steven told us about Lion King.
Mm-hmm.
Hakuna Matata.
Brilliant analysis. Got to give the young man credit.
Yeah. He sings way better than I do.
I won't disagree with that.
So do cats under anesthesia.
Hey!
I'm sorry if you're a cat lover. So, coming up just after 8 o'clock, if you did not hear about the letter from Greg Tarver, well, it's sort of an open letter to Attorney General Jeff Landry.
Mm-hmm.
But what we need to determine is, did he just send it to the governor's office, who forwarded it to it to you?
They were probably CC'd on it.
Or did they did he sort of filter it through the governor's office?
Oh no, they CC'd him, the governor. He CC'd the governor's office, and then they sent it to me. Sometimes he CC's me, but this time he didn't. But the governor's office.
So you think
sent it
that
to
letter
me.
was composed and distributed totally without the input of the governor's office?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, Greg Tarver doesn't. The governor doesn't tell Greg Tarver what to write. Have you lost your mind?
Given the fact that they are still somewhat at odds about that phone call, the phone call the governor has one recollection of, the phone call that Senator Tarver has another recollection of as pertaining to the non-appointment of Carolyn Prater, do you think they've buried that hatchet? Do you think that will cause a rift? I mean, what he said at the end of
buried it.
At the end of our last conversation with Senator Tarver, he had said that the governor remembers what he remembers, and he's wrong. He said he's wrong.
He's
he
wrong.
said, but I still strongly support the governor.
I think Tarver's moved on. The question is, has the governor moved on? He holds a bigger grudge than others. So I don't know. We shall see.
LSU is a 20 and a half point favorite this weekend against Ole Miss. How do you feel about that? Ole Miss is down and out, man. They are a struggling franchise,
But
so
a
to
great
speak.
offense. They've got I think one of the highest in the SEC in terms of yards per game.
If LSU is a 20-point favorite, what does that tell you about what the odds makers think about Ole Miss?
I know.
It ain't much.
No, it's not much.
It ain't much at all.
That'd be another big win. Big SEC win.
Would it really be a big one, though, or would it just be one?
Well, it would be two good ones. I mean, one great one and one
Do you think
mediocre
LSU
one.
is bit by bit? Because you're a blind, you're just a crazy LSU fan.
Mm-hmm.
Are they bit by bit getting ready for that stretch of Georgia, Alabama, and the heart of the SEC schedule?
Oh, I think they are. Absolutely.
Are you more confident? Are you feeling better about this team than you did, say, a month or 6 weeks ago?
Oh, I had major PB about 6 weeks ago.
PB?
Panties in a bunch.
Oh, of course. I
I
apologize.
have way less
I thought that was
PB today.
PIB. Never have a Mr. Pibb again. 756, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Sean Hannity.
Your morning cup of Sean. This is the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
I'm watching instance after instance after instance where there are people in this country that will say and do anything when it comes to power. Every 2-4 years, you're going to hear Republicans are racist, Republicans are sexist, Republicans are misogynist, they're xenophobic, they're homophobic, Islamophobic. They want dirty air and water because they don't support environmental extremism, and they want to kill your kids and throw Granny over the cliff. You have a Paul Ryan lookalike that wants to throw Granny over the cliff. Every Supreme Court nomination now, there is a lot at stake, and it's gotten worse, as we now see today. That is your modern Democratic Party.
The conservative underground meets later today on the Sean Hannity Show.
Blinds.com, they make it simple and easy to upgrade the look of a single room or your entire home with brand new made-to-order custom blinds. Now, every order gets free samples, free shipping, and free professional online design consultation. You can read reviews and see inspiring before and after pictures. Go to Blinds.com. And now through September the 30th, you take an additional 5% off their already low prices at Blinds.com. Just use the promo code Hannity. Blinds.com, promo code Hannity. Rules, restrictions apply.
Mesothelioma kills. It has taken lives, destroyed families, and ruined childhoods. We need to take action immediately. The Mesothelioma Patient Registry Act of 2017 would create a patient registry for researchers. Cancer and ALS have it. Meso researchers need it too. We need to find a cure for this devastating disease. For more information on this bipartisan bill, visit iSaveTeam.org. That's iSaveTeam.org.
1017 FM and 710 Keel. Our Keel Poll of the Week. Find it online at KeelNews.com. KeelNews.com.
We have reports of a minor accident on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway. And we're looking at some backed up traffic on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. It's backed up past Benton Road right now. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast will have a stray shower this morning. Not as warm otherwise today. Plenty of clouds and a high of 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.
Three past 8 o'clock. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL app is always a free download presented by Office Furniture Source. Erin's getting local news together, and it's coming up in just seconds.
The mayor must answer questions in the water billing scandal. We'll talk more about that. Our community remembers a Barksdale airman who was killed while chasing burglars, and a woman is shot in the backside.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that your inflection threw me. Shot in the backside.
Yep.
Plus, a review of our chat with mayoral candidate Stephen Jackson. Maybe, in fact, all of the candidates, since all that we have scheduled have now come and gone. One conspicuous in her absence. And you got to read the letter from Tarver to AG Jeff Landry about the whole Carolyn Prater Red River Waterway Commission thing. Plus Fletcher in sports and traffic and weather. It's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on KEEL.
information. KEEL News now.
The mayor must answer questions in the city's water billing scandal. Matt Parker with that.
A Caddo District judge has ordered Shreveport Mayor Ollie Tyler to answer questions in a lawsuit accusing the city of improperly collecting funds from commercial water and sewer customers. However, the judge did limit the scope of what questions can be asked of Tyler. Once questions are submitted and approved, Tyler has 15 days to answer. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of the Haven Property Owners Association and Briarwood Apartments. The group claims that the city improperly collected up to $3.5 million in fees and taxes. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
Barksdale Airman slain in a shooting and is being remembered across our community. Joshua Kidd is the man killed in a Tuesday shooting in Green Acres Place. He was an airman at Barksdale. According to family and neighbors, the 30-year-old airman was shot and killed while chasing after suspected burglars. A prayer vigil in honor of Kidd will be held tonight at 6:30 at Airline Baptist Church. A cash reward is being offered by Crime Stoppers for information leading to an arrest in the shooting. A federal judge has ruled that Louisiana charter schools have to recognize and bargain with local teacher unions. President of the Louisiana Federation of Teachers is praising the ruling, saying the decision gives teachers, employees, and experts a voice in what takes place inside a charter school classroom. A woman gets shot in the butt in Shreveport. According to police, the woman was shot in the rear end at Tiffany Square Apartments. According to officers, the victim was sitting on her sofa when her neighbor's gun went off and struck her on her hindquarters. No arrests have been made in the case. Authorities say her wounds are not life-threatening. A new poll for the Secretary of State's special election in November is out, with Democrat Renee Free in the lead, followed by Republicans Julie Stokes and Rick Edmonds. The poll by JMC Analytics was commissioned by Edmonds. Pollster John Couvillon says the early lead for a Democrat in a red state is not surprising, considering how many Republicans are running.
The Democratic vote is going to be at a minimum between 35 and 40%. That vote is only being divided two ways, whereas the Republican vote is being divided six ways.
The poll also included results that show a 43 to 37 split on the question of whether or not Governor Edwards deserves to be reelected. The Senate Judiciary Committee will hear today from Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and a woman who accuses him of trying to rape her when they were teenagers. The attention is focused on the Judiciary Committee. Political analyst Bernie Pincinat says what we can expect from Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana, who serves on that panel.
Things as they stand based on her recollection probably is pretty easy for John Kennedy. He will probably vote as a committee member to send the nomination to the full Senate.
Pincinat says it's a smart move on behalf of the all-male Republicans on the committee to have a female come in to ask the tricky questions. Fish fry tonight, the Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association. It's happening at Hayes Avenue Baptist Church beginning at 6 o'clock. The public is invited. A guy in Pennsylvania has been having yard sales to pay for his own funeral. The Navy veteran has stage 4 cancer but has no money to pay for his funeral. Residents have stepped up to help pay those costs. I'm Erin McCarty from 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Ten past 8 o'clock, time for KEEL traffic. Ruben's ready.
We have reports of a minor accident on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway, and we're looking at some backed up traffic on I-20 westbound near Spring and Market. It's backed up past Benton Road right now. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast will have a stray shower this morning, not as warm otherwise today. Plenty of clouds and a high of 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.1017 FM and
What?
Look like that dog on the dashboard.
I'm a bobblehead.
An Erin McCarty bobblehead.
I need one of those.
There is the moneymaker that is waiting to be
An Erin McCarty bobblehead.
Erin McCarty bobblehead.
Wow.
I'm sorry, Matt. Would you care to explain to our Facebook viewers the face you just made and why you made it?
Matt, you know you want one.
I just know I would pay money for it not to be produced. That's all I'm saying.
1017 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. That KEEL app is always a free.
Oh, boy.
Stop doing that.
He's not going to be able to gather it up now.
I gotta go home now. See you at Hash Brown Casserole. It's just a quarter mile away.
I got an email from the governor's office yesterday.
What was that?
Said hi, tell you hi. No, that's not what it was. They forwarded a letter to me.
This is the Greg Tarver letter.
From Greg Tarver.
Okay, let me see. I've got my little chronograph on, the Meadow Multi-Fort Adventure Chronograph. Let me see if I can I don't think you can do it in 60. Do you think I can do it in 90 seconds?
Probably not.
Do you think I can sum this up in 90 seconds, what
Doubt
this
it.
is about?
I doubt
Okay,
it.
let me hit the button, and we're going. Okay, the governor failed to appoint the suggested nominee to the Red River Waterway Commission. That nominee was Sheriff Steve Prater's wife, Carolyn Prater. Okay, governor said, nope, I'm not appointing her. A lot of people, including the levee board in this part of the state, the Red River Levee Board, said
the Caddo Levee Board.
Sorry, that the governor had broken the rules that he is required by law to appoint their and other Northwest Louisiana bodies' recommendations. They asked Jeff Landry, Attorney General Jeff Landry, for his legal opinion. Landry said, yes, the governor broke the rules, and he is that basically, according to the law, he has to appoint Prater, that he cannot appoint somebody else.
Kinda.
Now, what does this have to do with Senator Greg Tarver? Tarver says that he had a telephone conversation with the governor in which the governor said that the reason he didn't appoint Prater was as payback to Sheriff Steve because of his, meaning Sheriff Steve's, criticism of the Judicial Reform Act.
Yes.
Okay. Greg says, I had that conversation. Governor says, we never had that conversation. That's where we are.
Yeah.
I took
He
literally
said the governor said he heard that conversation differently.
89 seconds. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So
where we are now is obviously the Attorney General has filed suit, not against the governor, though, essentially, against the Red River Waterway Commission.
Really?
Saying that 2 of your members are illegal.
Wow.
And they shouldn't be allowed to serve. And he wants them removed or moved. And one of them is Ron Latier, who was in the at-large position, and the governor moved him to the Caddo position and then appointed Michael DeVille from Rapides Parish to the at-large position. So this letter was sent by Greg Tarver, state senator, to Attorney General Landry.
Now, one would think, pardon me before you get into that, one would think that this letter would directly address the Attorney General's lawsuit, right?
Like I think you're wrong or right or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I disagree.
But this, notice that this doesn't touch on that.
No, it does not. Dear Attorney General Landry, I hear a suit has been filed to remove Mr. Ron Latier from the Red River Waterway Commission. Under no circumstances do I support or agree with the decision to have him removed. I have known Mr. Latier for a very long time, and he's proven to be a very diligent, devoted, and skillful young man and a fine attorney. He was confirmed by the Senate and Governmental Affairs Committee and by the full Senate, and I am reaffirming my support of his Senate confirmation. I want to make myself very clear. I do not want him removed from the commission under any circumstances. I also want to make it clear that I support him being on the Red River Waterway Commission. Sincerely, Senator Greg Tarver.
Now, he says the decision to remove. There's been no decision made, right?
No, judge hasn't ruled.
Okay, but the point is he refers to a decision in the first, or I think, to open the second paragraph. Is that, read that
It's
again.
just one paragraph, but
Then it's a lengthy one, and he would get a C in English.
let's see. Under no circumstances do I support or agree with the decision to have him removed.
There's been no decision, am I right?
No, there's no decision to have
Okay,
him
so
removed.
I was just clarifying
Right.
that. Okay, so my question to you was, and you seem to think I'm off the mark here because of the, if nothing else, independent streak of Senator Tarver. I said, you got that email not from Senator Tarver, but you got it from the governor's office.
Yes.
Do you think that Senator Tarver ran that letter through the governor's office or
No.
by the governor's office before sending it to
No.
Attorney General Landry?
No, not at all. If he had, they would have asked him to put something about I object to the lawsuit in it. No, he likes Ron Latier. He's supporting his buddy. He's supporting one of the people he likes, one of his guys.
What was, do you think, the purpose of this letter to Landry from Tarver? I mean,
I think
other than- I mean,
it says put him back to his spot. If he's serving illegally where he is, I don't want him removed. I want him put back in the spot he was serving on. Put him back in his legal spot. Don't remove him from the spot he's in now. Put him back in his at-large spot.
do you think in sending, therefore, if your analysis is correct, do you think, therefore, in sending that letter to Attorney General Landry, do you think that Senator Tarver is sort of admitting there might be something to the lawsuit?
No, I don't know about that. I mean, I think that's a bit of a stretch. We're going to have to see what the judges say. I've gotten legal opinions myself who say the nomination by the local entities, the Caddo Levy District, the Caddo Commission, and the Red River Valley Association have to come after the vacancy occurs.
And so when the
nomination of Ron Latier came prior to the Caddo vacancy happening.
So when the governor's people, as Shauna Sanford did with us a couple of days ago, when the governor's people make the point that Latier, yes,
is a nominee of our
he
local
had
people.
been nominated, but the point
He was nominated prior to the death of Mickey Prestridge, so there was not a vacancy
and
on the Caddo
rules
seat.
say that.
You have to have nominations for the Caddo seat from the local entities upon a vacancy existing.
19 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Sports is just ahead. Tim's got that. Right now, traffic and weather, starting off with Ruben.
Keeping an eye on some backed up traffic on I-20 westbound. Starting at Spring and Market, it's backed up past Airline Drive right now. And we have some backed up traffic on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway due to a minor accident. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast will have a stray shower this morning. Not as warm otherwise today. Plenty of clouds and a high of 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Hey, Robert J. Wright once again for Scott and Tom and Eric and everybody at Louisiana Coin and Jewelry on Line Avenue. As a matter of fact, thanks again to Scott and Tom and Eric for awesome bullet points regarding their recently announced and currently underway 60th anniversary celebration. Here we go. Louisiana Coin and Jewelry on Line Avenue, a special selection of fine jewelry at 60% off through Saturday. Now, when I say fine jewelry, what I mean is, in reference to Louisiana Coin and Jewelry, really fine jewelry. 60% off diamond tennis bracelets, diamond hoop earrings, diamond and precious stone jewelry, and this is great stuff, and 60% off through Saturday only. Now, you may say to yourself, but I've got no special event, no anniversary, no birthday, no holiday coming up. Let me interject. Time to buy now and save. Stuff it in the drawer, hide that baby out for that special day. 60% off, just in time for their 60th anniversary sale at Louisiana Coin and Jewelry on Line Avenue, Uptown Shopping Center, just to the left of Brookshire's up in the corner. 22 past 8 o'clock, sports update. Here's Fletch.
Good morning from the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger. This is Tim Fletcher. Two huge games kick off the high school football week. Starting tonight, the annual grudge match between Byrd and Captain Shreve at Lee Hedges features teams with a combined record of 7-1. But usually the records don't even matter when these two rivals square off. Unbeaten Northwood entertains Benton tonight. The Falcons dispatched North DeSoto last week and try to keep the hot side hot tonight at home. Chasen Hines, the LSU freshman offensive lineman and former Marshall Maverick, will get his first start for the Tigers Saturday night against Ole Miss. Hines will fill the role normally occupied by Garrett Brumfield, who suffered a knee injury in the win over Louisiana Tech and will miss a couple of weeks, according to Coach Ed Orgeron. There was some good news on the injury front for the Tigers. Adrian McGee practiced in full pads and worked with the first-team offense at left tackle during individual drills, according to the Advocate. He's been on the shelf since suffering an injury in the season-opening win over Miami. Saints quarterback Drew Brees was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week after his 5 total touchdown performance in Sunday's win over Atlanta. Brees also broke the record for career completions in the game. New Orleans travels to Jersey to face the Giants this weekend. In practice Wednesday, Alvin Kamara, Cam Jordan joined Andrus Peat, Tyler Davison, Ted Ginn Jr., and Cameron Meredith as limited participants due to injury. From the sports desk of 1130 The Tiger, this is Tim Fletcher.
.107 FM and 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Got a question for you. We sort of touched on this a little bit yesterday. Nothing like a great comeback. America loves a comeback story.
Yeah.
Do you think when he was a champion golfer, top of the world, setting records and winning by margins theretofore unseen, do you think that while all that was going on in the late 90s, early 2000s, do you think, and of course the answer, I know what you're going to say, when all this was going on, when he was winning the U.S. Open by 15 shots,
Mm-hmm.
do you think Tiger Woods was a good guy?
I'm suspicious of Tiger now.
Do you think Tiger back then was a
No,
good guy? The evidence
no,
would say no.
no.
He was an inveterate philanderer.
Yeah.
And there were, basically the guy shot off all of his toes,
Right.
publicity-wise. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, don't get me wrong, and I touched on this yesterday, I'm a huge Tiger fan. As much as a guy my age can be the fan of anybody who's just an athlete.
Right.
So my question is, when Tiger was so built up early in his career, when he was at the zenith, when he was at the apogee of his skills, and he was praised in the press, and he's a great golfer, he's got a foundation, he's a great husband, he's got the whole list of of praise.
Yep.
And as he has suffered through injury, and as he has suffered through
The decline of his game.
any number of the things
Sure.
that were and were not of his own doing, and now that he has, to some great degree, come back, won a tournament, is on the way, could in fact achieve previously held status in the golfing world.
Mm-hmm.
And all the commentators and all the pundits and all the analysts and all the writers are saying he's been through tough times. He's hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And he's a much better human. Do we really know right now that Tiger Woods is a better guy than he was 20 years ago?
I don't know that.
Or is it all, God, it sounds like I hate Tiger Woods, and I don't. I think he's an awesome golfer. I love watching him play. I root for him every time he plays.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know that he's any different a guy than he was in the year 2000, when, by all accounts, he wasn't that good a guy.
Right. He had some moral issues.
So now that he's been through tough times, are we just assuming once again the media's opinion and or analysis that tough times have made him a decent human being?
No, tough times don't make you a decent human being.
Sometimes they do.
I don't think in this case.
But are the media once again is it just a good story that he's winning again and he's been through rough times, so he must have a new perspective on life and he's just a good guy now?
No, I mean, to think Tiger hit rock bottom.
If you've seen the video, if you've seen that police video where he's stumbling down the highway thinking he's in California and he's in Florida, that's sort of rock bottom.
No. When you're still a millionaire, you ain't hit rock bottom.
29 past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Whew. Traffic update. It's the scent of truth in the air. Traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on some heavy backed up traffic on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast, a spotty shower this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and not as warm today. High 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
U.S. Air Force B-52 bombers in international airspace near China this week, the same day China canceled a port call for a U.S. warship in Hong Kong, which was scheduled for next month. Lucas Tomlinson has more from the Pentagon.
The B-52 bombers flew in both the East China Sea and South China Sea, where China has built up its man-made islands despite a pledge not to do so. This week, China yanked its top admiral from Newport, Rhode Island, ahead of a meeting with his American counterpart. Defense Secretary Mattis downplayed tensions with China outside the Pentagon.
I don't think that we're seeing a fundamental shift in anything. We're just going through one of those periodic points where we've got to learn to manage our differences.
Last week, the Trump administration slapped new sanctions on Beijing for buying Russian fighter jets and missiles. At the Pentagon, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
A Caddo district judge has ordered Shreveport Mayor Ollie Tyler to answer questions in a lawsuit accusing the city of improperly collecting funds from commercial water and sewer customers. However, the judge did limit the scope of what questions can be asked of Tyler. It won't be open-ended. Once the questions are submitted and approved, Tyler will have 15 days to respond. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of the Haven Property Owners Association and Briarwood Apartments. The group claims the city improperly collected up to $3.5 million in fees and taxes. A Barksdale airman slain in a shooting. Matt Parker has that.
Joshua Kidd, the man killed in a shooting Tuesday morning in Green Acres Place subdivision, was an airman at Barksdale Air Force Base. According to family and neighbors, the 30-year-old airman was shot and killed while chasing after suspected burglars. A prayer vigil in honor of Kidd will be held tonight at 6:30 at Airline Baptist Church. A cash reward is being offered by Crime Stoppers for any information leading to an arrest in the shooting. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
A federal judge has ruled that Louisiana charter schools have to recognize and bargain with local teacher unions. The president of the Louisiana Federation of Teachers is praising the ruling, saying the decision gives teachers, employees, and experts a voice in what takes place inside a charter school classroom. A woman gets shot in the butt in Shreveport. According to police, the woman was shot in the rear end at Tiffany Square Apartments. According to officers, the victim was sitting on her sofa when her neighbor's gun went off and struck her on her hindquarters. No arrests have been made in the case. Authorities say her wounds are not life-threatening. A new poll in the Secretary of State's special election in November is out. Democrat Renee Free in the lead, followed by Republicans Julie Stokes and Rick Edmonds. The rest of the candidates sit in the low single digits, including interim Secretary of State Kyle Ardoin, who took over after Tom Shedler's resignation that sparked the special election. Jake Houvion says Ardoin's late entry into the race has him chasing the pack.
When he announced it literally the last minute of qualifying, he didn't really have an election infrastructure that was pre-built. So in a sense, he's playing catch-up.
The poll also included results that show a 43-37 split on the question of whether or not Governor Edwards deserves to be reelected. The Senate Judiciary Committee will hear today from Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and a woman who accuses Kavanaugh of trying to rape her when they were teenagers. Christine Blasey Ford, a California psychology professor, is one of 3 accusers. Now, the attention of the nation is focused on this testimony. Pollster Bernie Pincinat says it's a smart move on behalf of the all-male Republicans on the committee to have a female come in to ask the tricky questions.
Have a female talking to another female, asking some pretty interesting questions, and some of them pointed, some of them not so kind. So a woman doing that, of course, is much better for the Republicans then.
Louisiana Senator John Kennedy serves on that committee. A father suspected of gluing shut the eyes and mouth of his 1-year-old daughter arrested in West Texas. El Paso County records show 29-year-old Johnny Lee Carter is being held on a charge of injury to a child causing serious bodily injury. I'm Erin McCarty from 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. It's 8:37.
You can come have dinner with me tonight.
Tonight is what, Thursday?
Yes, it is.
Thursday. That's my chakra night.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I'm tired of y'all.
Chakra and tacos?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So what are you doing this evening?
Fish fry tonight. The Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association happened at Hayes Avenue Baptist Church.
Where is that?
It's in the Captain Shreve neighborhood, Dixie Garden and Captain Shreve, back in that neighborhood.
Hayes Avenue Baptist Church.
Yeah, if you're...
Is that one of the... See, I don't get to that neighborhood very often.
There'll be signs out that direct you to the Hayes Avenue Baptist. You can just Google it. It's easy to find. You don't have to worry about it. But it starts at 6 o'clock.
So this is for the
Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association.
Is it for Captain Shreve neighborhood people only? Or?
They're inviting the neighborhood, but if you're from another area and you maybe want to join our association, because we do a lot of great work, you can come out and join the association and get a fish fry dinner.
This is one of those boards. This is one of those organizations that you're on. That just when you say, I don't have any more time, there's nothing else I can do, I can't help out anybody else, then the phone rings and they say, Erin, can you lend us a hand? And you go, sure I can, with a smile on your face.
Well, you know what, Robert? My life revolves around the people that I care about. And when somebody I care about called and said, can you help? I said, absolutely, I'll be glad to help. And so I'm doing just that. I'm not a huge contributor to this organization at this point.
But you're on the board, right?
But I'm on the board.
So let me see if I got this right.
Share.
Just so people know, you're also on the board for Nick Getter's
Loving Solutions.
You're on the Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association.
Yeah.
And you're also on the city's Architectural and Engineering Committee.
Yeah, and I'm still serving on the YWCA's Finance Committee.
In fact, one of those, and one of the questions I have failed to ask of our mayoral candidates is, if you are elected, would you because you always ask the first, what are you going to do the first 90 days? What are you going to do the first 30 days? What are your first 3 moves going to be? One of mine would be to remove Erin from the A&E committee.
Yeah.
It just seems to me to be a wise
Why
managerial.
haven't we asked him that?
Huh?
We needed to ask him that.
Well, I know.
Kick me off that A&E committee.
Somehow when they're in here, it doesn't seem the priority. It seems when they're gone.
The current mayor might kick me off.
So,
I don't know.
Review once again for if she ever calls back. Review for us once again your Hayes Avenue Baptist Church, Captain Shreve, the whole
fish fry. Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association. Shavers is doing the fish. It's not me cooking. It's just me chowing down. Come out and meet, greet. There are going to be a lot of politicians, I'm sure, that want to meet everybody. But meet your neighbors. Get to know the people you live around.
Are you speaking this evening?
No, there's nobody speaking. We're just having. There's some cool door prizes and all that. You know what? I may even offer up us as a door prize.
Really?
Come hang out with us for an hour. Could be a door prize.
8:39. It's 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Traffic update. Ruben's here.
Still keeping an eye on some heavy backed up traffic on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast, a spotty shower this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and not as warm today, high 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Matt Parker playing out the string.
There's
So,
just certain things that happen that smack me around. It's like, wow, how are we there? How did we get to this point?
101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, Shreveport Security Systems text line 318-392-1884. It's just basically dawning on you that a lot of people you know of your age have like 10, 11-year-old kids, and you're going, oh, my God.
How is that possible?
I can't believe I'm an old person. Yeah, you're tearing my
You're
heart
old.
out. Yeah, woe is you.
Well, they're
pal.
not dying off yet, which is knock on wood.
I don't want to talk about Kavanaugh.
I'm with you, but we almost have to.
It's today. They're going to testify today. Can we stop now? Because all it does, I can't even watch it. It makes me so angry. Talking about it.
Are you going to watch anything?
No, it pisses me off. No.
Why does it piss you off?
Because it is a blatant attempt to delay, and destroy a man who's probably never hurt anybody, much less his wife and kids, in their whole lives.
What if any of it is true?
And we're going to find out, because I don't believe it, because of the people that are behind it. Look, it's like anything else. When somebody tells you A and somebody else tells you B, and the person who is telling you A is the person who lies to you all the time, and the person who is telling you B is the one that you count on, that you trust, that you look up to, who are you instinctively going to trust? What about Chuck Schumer? What about Nancy Pelosi? What about anybody on the political left would I for an instant have a reason to believe in? I don't want to talk about it. It just makes me angry. Can we talk about something else, please? The testimony is this morning. No, if you want to, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay, we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'll get even madder about it tomorrow, because it just so infuriates me.
I understand. What'll make me madder than anything.
Avenatti is into it.
Well, let me make my point.
Oh, God.
If what'll make me really furious is if any of these claims by these women are stretched, exaggerated, or completely bogus, these folks are pushing this, I will be so mad. Not only for the damage it's going to do to Kavanaugh and his family, but for the damage it will do to people who are real victims. If any of this is bogus, shame on anybody who is pushing it as real and true. But if any of it is true, we need to know that. We need to know about this candidate.
I am literally chewing through my lip right now.
I know.
Because once again, I'm just going to stop.
Let me read this to you real quick.
Oh, God.
This is how crazy this has become. The Associated Press sent out a list of here are what the networks are doing. I'm going to read it fast because it's crazy. ABC will follow the testimony live. CBS's morning newscast will originate from Washington. Blah, blah, blah. NBC's coverage will be led by Lester Holt. PBS will offer live coverage. CNN will have Wolf Blitzer and Jake Tapper. Fox News will have Brett Baer. MSNBC's coverage will be anchored by blah, blah, blah. C-SPAN will offer no-frills coverage. It is going to be everywhere. It will be unfreaking avoidable. I guess I'm going to go watch ESPN. Maybe they won't have it on there today. I just don't know, because I'm going to only be able to stomach a little bit of it. But I do have to tell you, Robert, and if there's an inkling of any of this that's true, I do want to know that. But why at this late stage is it coming up?
See, if I just let you go, you'll be fine, and it will keep my head from exploding.
I know.
Remember, all the people who are out to destroy Brett Kavanaugh are all the same people that are out to destroy Donald Trump. All the same people. Delay, destroy, because once, look, and I explained this on Facebook to somebody a couple of days ago. When Gorsuch was confirmed, he replaced the late Antonin Scalia, who was also a conservative, a strict constructionist.
Yeah.
The Democrats cannot afford to lose what they would refer to as the balance on the Supreme Court. Now, when somebody on the political left tells you the balance on the Supreme Court, what they mean is protecting Roe versus Wade.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Matt, can we, you and I talked about this morning, you remember our conversation early before he got here? Can we talk about that or no?
I don't remember what we talked about.
About what teenagers do?
I would phrase it carefully, but I mean, kids do stupid stuff at parties.
Yeah.
Whether it's defined as assault or not, it depends on the lengths you go.
I'm going to tell you what things have happened in my life as a teenager. And I go back, I may be about their age, I don't know. I'm at a party, and if a couple of people have drinks or whatever, it happens when you're making out with a boy or something like that's happening, that sometimes things happen that if I were to turn the clock back, it could be considered, I didn't ask him to do that.
I had lunch with my
You know what I
nephew.
mean?
I had lunch with my nephew.
But does this go farther than that?
I had lunch with my nephew, Hal, and both my brothers yesterday. And my nephew, Hal, who's in his early 40s, said basically the same thing. And I said, stop right there. Because once you start to have that conversation, you are saying, yes, he could have. And there is no evidence brought to the table so far by anyone.
Robert, there is never evidence of a sexual assault. There's only two people. Two people are there. It's one word against his word. So to say there's no evidence, you're naive. There's never evidence in the sexual assault unless it's
Then
an
how
actual
on
rape
earth-
where there's
then
DNA
how
left.
on earth does anybody ever get convicted of that? If there's
Because
no
there are
evidence?
some cases
What
where
you
there's
have
DNA left.
is a
You don't have
woman
DNA
coming
left
back
from
after
37
30-something
years. You don't have DNA from that.
What you have is a woman coming
I
out
get it, but-
after 37 years who is historically a Democrat operative.
But you sound like a moron when you say evidence. In a lot of sexual assault cases, you're not going to have evidence.
You know what they call
Unless there was intercourse.
When you call me a moron, you know what you're calling people? You're calling judges and juries and plaintiffs.
No,
And worst
no.
of all, who you're calling a moron is innocent people.
No, absolutely not.
849, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Ruben.
Still keeping an eye on some heavy backed up traffic on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather forecast will have a stray shower this morning. Not as warm otherwise today. Plenty of clouds and a high of 79. Partial clearing with a low of 63 tonight. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
News from the classrooms, the hospitals, and the casinos right here on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KeelNews.com.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
Lafayette School Board has just opened up its checkbook to anyone with an internet connection. The LPSS launched a website where anyone can go see what the school board has done with the money it receives and how it spends that money. Every single transaction is available online.
Yeah, and taxpayers have a right to know how government is spending our money. It's just common sense. If they're going to ask us to pay taxes, we ought to see how they're spending our money. Look, the way to deter crime, the experts say, is to have more eyes on the street, neighbors looking out for the neighborhood. The same principle works for government. If you want to deter wasteful spending, open up the books so that we can all see what's going on.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
.855, it's 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. I was right. There's a countdown clock on CNN.
Mhm.
5 minutes, 24 seconds.
The fish fries at Haynes Avenue Baptist Church.
that's
You
not-
said it wrong.
What?
You said it wrong.
Yeah, it must have been me.
Yeah.
That's just I apologize for repeating what Erin had said.
Yeah.
So the point is that's just a neighborhood I don't often get to.
Mhm. Come out tonight if you want.
Yeah.
Fish fry from Shaver, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Captain Shreve Neighborhood Association. Hope was he there. It's going to be fun. I won't eat off your plate. I might dip into your tartar
This
sauce.
time. That's
Yeah.
not a euphemism, is it?
No.
Okay, good. LSU is right now a 20-plus point favorite.
That's incredible.
On the 1 to 10 scale, and I know that you have a lot of friends who, like yourself, are, and I had to explain this again to somebody else. Where was it the other night? We were talking, I know, at Real Barbecue there at Fairfield and Piermont. And I was talking to a guy that was working, and I said, I'm just not that big a college sports guy. And he said, how can you not be a college football fan? I said, because I find it really hard. First of all, I didn't graduate college, so I really don't have a lot of, or attend one for a long time. So I really don't have any loyalty to one particular collegiate institution. But it's just really hard for me to get all that emotionally invested in something a 19 or a 20-year-old kid does. And I used the story a couple of years ago about the freshman who was the LSU. He was like some great big Brobdingnagian offensive tackle. And he's in the weight room, and it's before the season, and he's having an argument on his cell phone with his girlfriend, and he gets mad, and he smashes the cell phone, and then punches his arm through this huge, like we have here, these big triple pane, storm windows, and he punches out this huge pane of glass.
Yeah.
And severs his bicep.
Toast.
And he missed the whole season.
Right, he's out.
You'll forgive me. I find it really hard to get all that involved with somebody who has that frame of mind.
Yeah.
So, LSU, a 20-point favorite against Ole Miss. You think they have far exceeded your expectations.
Yeah, LSU's so far really nice. Good season start.
And think they might cover on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. And here's Kim Commando.
If the kids in your family are playing Fortnite, Minecraft, or Roblox, a recent sting operation proves child pedophiles come from all walks of life. Kim Commando with your Thursday Consumer Tech Update. Get extended interviews on tech topics with the free Commando podcast, available on iTunes and Google Play. This past week in New Jersey, 24 men were arrested as they tried to get kids and teens to meet them for sex using popular games like Fortnite, Minecraft, and Roblox. The men used the game's chat to make friends with the kids and then lure the kids into a house. Among those arrested, there was a nurse, a firefighter, a security guard, and even a police sergeant. No software fix is a replacement for good parenting. Know what the kids do when they play. Disable the game's chat. Teach your kids about internet predators. Tell the kids to tell you when something happens that makes them feel uncomfortable, and use that word. It covers the gamut. You'll hear more than if you use the word bad. I'm Kim Commando. Are you tired of constantly riding the volume button on your remote to compensate for too quiet dialogue and too loud special effects and commercials? I have the answer to your audio woes. The revolutionary Aftermaster Pro. With Aftermaster Pro, you'll experience a new level of sound clarity. Aftermaster Pro transforms television audio from virtually all audio, video sources, raises and clarifies dialogue and vocal levels, while making all surrounding audio sound substantially clearer and leveled. Simply plug it into your TV using the included HDMI cable. Everything becomes crisp, clear, and understandable using your TV's existing speakers or sound bars. Aftermaster Pro is no bigger than your smartphone. Visit AftermasterPro.com, use promo code KIM, and hear what you've been missing. You'll get $25 off this breakthrough technology. AftermasterPro.com, promo code KIM.
Still keeping an eye on some heavy backed up traffic on I-220 westbound near North Market due to construction. And we have some traffic delays on Benton Road near Green Acres Boulevard in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Want less chance of rain today? KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. It's only 63 now. Much cooler today. Maybe not even 8.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.